Welcome to Draw One Last Breath Horror Podcast. My name's Matt.
And I'm man. I mean, no, he's not here. I'm Paul. Sorry. I'm Paul for tonight. Butch, whatever you want.
On this episode, we have been to the cinema to watch Boogeyman. Paul has a something to scream about for later on. And our movie from the vault, God Rest His Soul, was picked by Geordie, R.I.P. Paul.
Roller coaster.
Roller coaster. He's still alive. He's all right. He's just had some work commitments, unfortunately. This will be a one-off. We have raised this with our HR department, which is us. And if it happens again, he will get struck off the podcast.
Agreed? Warning. Yeah, he's on.
All that agree, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Why aye?
Why aye?
Anyway, how are you doing? He will be back next episode.
Yeah, man. I'm good. I'm just quaking in my boots at the moment. When this pod has gone out, I may be still alive or I might not be. So Matt has arranged a lovely little weekend away from his stag do. So I'll be...
and Werewolf Dan. Don't forget about Werewolf.
Yeah, I'm Werewolf Dan. And I'll be publishing the podcast on the day that I get back.
Hopefully.
So if it's late, you've only got those two douchebags to blame.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but other than that, I've been cool. I've been watching a couple of bits.
Yeah.
I watched the new Shudder exclusive, The Influencer.
Okay.
I quite rate that. It was about a young girl sort of going to Thailand, doing a social media thing, and then she gets picked up by a mimic, and it's just like it's quite clever, quite a clever movie as a whole. Had some sort of horror elements and horror bits and bobs and stuff. She gets stranded on an island and stuff like that, but it has some interesting twists and turns, and it was just quite a clever movie, and I quite liked the main antagonist as well. It was really good.
Okay, cool.
I recommend it.
Did you watch anything else?
That's been it, mate. That's all I've watched. Sorry.
Mate, don't apologise to me. I'm the worst normally. I only watched one thing, to be honest. I went to Amazon Prime because Bones and All has dropped on it. I'm not going to touch on it too much because I want you to go and watch it because you haven't had a chance yet. So once you've watched it, we'll have a chat. But I fucking love this film, and I'm gutted that I missed it at cinema. I knew I would be, but at the time it came out, there was so much other stuff.
Yeah, I know.
It was just crazy. I just didn't get a chance. But I'm glad it's come out on Amazon Prime. So everyone out there, just go and watch it because I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I think Geordie Paul's watched it as well. It was on his recommendation, really, that I went and saw it. So I'm sure we'll have a chat about it on the next pod. Other than that, I have not watched much else, unfortunately. I've been quite busy.
Fair play. I like that, though. I will be watching Bones and For All before the next podcast. We're going to have a little chat about it.
Bones and All.
Nice one. Well, let's rake it on to the news then. Let's do it. First bit I got, Terrifier 3. Officially been announced. It will be definitely getting done, and director Damien Leone is obviously back on. He will be snagging a much bigger budget than the 250,000 crowd-funded thing that they had last time, because it's raked in well over 15 million on the back of that 250 grand. It's just phenomenal, really is. Maybe, if we say 5 million as a guess for the budget, what could he possibly do with that money? Not like a 5 hour sick twist. I don't know. Maybe just pay for a big actor to get killed off. I don't know.
I bet he put some mad soundtrack in there though.
Yeah, it's fucking that's nuts money. So yeah, looking forward to that bad boy. Cocaine Bear has absolutely smashed it this year and fallen into everyone's basically DMs, and everyone has decided to do a little fucking movie. So I just thought I'd run through a couple that sort of they're due out or maybe even out at the moment. We've got Cocaine Cougar. A black cougar is high on cocaine, escapes animal testing facility and wreaks havoc in Los Angeles. We've got Cocaine Crabs from Outer Space. It's like literally a no-budget creature feature, basically. It'll be out this summer. They just get high on cocaine and kill people. So that's a good one to look forward for. Cocaine Shark. Obviously, that was going to be one. A mafia drug lord has unleashed a new, highly addictive stimulant on the streets, derived from sharks. So there we go. And there's also another one, which isn't cocaine, but it's something about a raccoon as well.
Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah, I've seen a picture of it.
I can't remember what he's high on. I think it's with heroin. So
Heroin.
I think he's not on cocaine, so I didn't include that one. But yeah, fucking absolutely amazing. We're reviewing Boogeyman shortly, directed by Rob Savage of Host.
Yes.
And it sounds like he's had a really good relationship with Stephen King. Sounds like they've been having some conversations about other projects and stuff like that. They'd like to work together again. And
okay.
I can't remember. There was on a podcast. I read it through Fangoria. There has been mentioned. I mention it a lot. Langoliers. Great TV movie.
Wow, is it?
So there's more to tell there, and obviously Rob has seen this.
There's definitely room to make it a lot better.
Definitely, and he's seen it. He's seen that, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it." So it's tied up at the moment. But if Mr. King is backing it, I would love to see Rob Savage attack the Langoliers after watching the Boogeyman this week.
Wow, if Boogeyman hits its numbers, I think he'll be a very, very, very busy Rob Savage.
Yeah, bloody deserves it. Other than that, that's all. I think that's all I got. Really, you got anything?
Yeah, I've got one thing. This is interesting. It's quite funny, actually. Unfortunately, it's not over here in the UK, but Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the 35th anniversary live music celebration. Have you seen this?
I saw. I did have a read.
Mental. HorrorCon LA, Cinemax Steampunk, and Nostalgia Nebula are joining forces to present the Darkest Carnival, Killer Clowns from Outer Space 35th anniversary live music celebration. This special one-show only event features Killer Clowns composer John Massari and punk rock pioneers Dickies.
I know.
How cool is that? A DJ synth set.
Awesome. Where is it again? LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get all the good shit.
Yeah.
Crazy shit.
Have fun over there, guys, and be that is well worth a watch.
Damn it.
Yeah, never mind.
Mr. Paul Stevens had a few bits of news he wanted us to mention. We've already talked about Terrifier 3, so he's put, I love that, the Terrifier 3 confirmed. We'll continue to push boundaries, much bigger budget, brackets, dear God. He's mentioned about Hocus Pocus 3 confirmed for Disney+. I watched 2, it was alright. Apparently, John Carpenter has remotely directed a horror TV series called Suburban Screams. So that'll be good to keep an eye out. You mentioned about cocaine crabs from outer space. One for Butch, he's putting in brackets.
Unbelievable.
And we've talked about the Langoliers. One other thing I did want to mention, there's been some set photos of Beetlejuice leaked.
Oh, really?
Of Winona Ryder dressed up as her old character, which somebody somehow got a really quick picture of her in all the makeup and everything. So, well excited for that. That's going to be quality.
Jenna Ortega.
Yeah.
Playing her daughter.
More Jenna.
Perfect casting, though, really.
Taking over the world, isn't she? Right.
Why not?
Should we get on to our main review?
When there are scary things we don't understand, our minds try to fill in the blanks. Sometimes the best thing to do is to face it. So this light is going to be completely solid like it is right now. Then gradually, it's going to start flashing until it's totally dark. So you can see that there's nothing to be afraid of. Okay? See, that's not so scary, is it? Just you, your sister, and me.
I'm okay. It's not real. It's okay. It's okay. It's all just in your head.
Katie, there's something in my room. You believe me, don't you?
There's no such thing as monsters. You need to grow up. I'm serious, Sawyer. I need to be alone.
You're both having these manifestations. What is this supposed to be? It's the thing that comes for your kids when you're not paying attention.
Dad, you have to listen to me.
Okay. I'm listening. Sweetheart, let me handle it.
Right, this episode's main review is The Boogeyman, coming from director Rob Savage, from The Host that was smashed it back in, what 2021 now, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking ace. So let's listen to it. It's a short story from Stephen King's The Night Shift. Still reeling from the tragic death of their mother, a teenage girl and a young sister find themselves plagued by a sadistic presence in their house and struggle to get their grieving father to pay attention before it's too late. I mean, let's get it straight. This is a fucking creature feature, and as always, Stephen King hates kids. So, wow,
He does, doesn't he?
he really fucking does. I mean, what did you think about this bad boy?
Well, to be honest, I heard a couple of I heard one review saying that it was a bit paint by numbers kind of horror. That I went in with a bit of lower expectations, but I had faith in Rob Savage because obviously he's got horror chops. And I went in and I thoroughly fucking enjoyed it, mate. And it isn't paint by numbers at all, which we'll get onto later. But if you're a horror fan, I think you are gonna love a lot of things in this movie. A lot of things.
Yeah, I'm with you. It creeped me out. Definitely, I felt uneasy watching it. Bit paranormal activity. It's very paranormal. Yeah, this one grabbed me by the ghoulies, man. This one got me in a few bits. I don't know why. It's the dark, the music. It just
I shit myself a few times. That's for sure.
Yeah, it had the right level for me. I mean, it stars the amazing Sophie Thatcher, who's from Yellow Jackets. Vivian Lyra Blair, who was young Leia in Obi-Wan.
She's fantastic.
And Chris Messina, who's been in quite a few bits and bobs, including Argo and Devil. He's got under his belt as well. So I don't know. And of course, David.
I want to hear this. Hang on, drum roll. Go on.
David Dastmalchian. I don't think that's that bad, right?
David Dastmalchian.
Oh, fuck's sake. Who we know is the polka dot man. That's all I can say. He's been in fucking loads. He's a polka dot. Ant-Man, obviously, he's fucking hilarious, but he's dark and broody, and he's fucking tall, man. And he loves horror.
He is a big horror person, and he's got a horror movie coming out soon, so I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I've heard him on the Boo Crew podcast, man. He's a really interesting guy.
It's quality, isn't he? He's a really good guy.
Yeah, but this movie, well, Boogeyman. I mean, this is what you kind of the review that it's had, paint by numbers, sure, but
even the name Boogeyman, there's been other films, right, called Boogeyman.
There's one called just Boogeyman. Not the Boogeyman, but and I think this has had an adaptation because it's 1973, The Night Shift, but I think it's had adaptation at some stage in its life.
You've read Night Shift, right?
No, and that is what I wanted to say. I need this in my life. I need to get Night Shift.
I didn't buy this for you.
No.
I bought this for you. I've got a copy. You can borrow it off me if you want. I will bring it to you and you can read it because I'll be honest, right? I'm not a huge reader. I mean, when I get time on holiday and I'll read a whole book and I love it. But I remember when I was a kid, I walked into Waterstones. I must have been probably about 12, like 13. And I walked into Waterstones and the cover literally jumped out at me. And I'll show you why. I'll bring the cover to you. And the thing that drew me into it is that because it's short stories, it's so much easier for me to read because you just like hammer through it. And some of the fucking like stories in this book are just insane. And this was way before, obviously he wrote this way before he became hugely famous as well. So this was like a bit of a taster of what he was capable of.
Yeah, because a lot of this was in is it Cavaliers magazine or is it called or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So
he wrote for a lot of porno mags as well.
Yeah.
Like, there were stories in porno mags apparently.
Including this one. And there's the stuff that's been pulled out of this book. Maximum Overdrive is like an adaptation. Cat's Eyes is come from this as well. Children of the Corn.
Yep.
It's like come from this. So yeah.
Such an easy book to read, and it's just crazy. It's crazy good. So
the Mangler. Toby Hooper's The Mangler. Fuck. I know, man. This one I was interested. I like the trailer, and again, if I call it paint by numbers, it's unfair, but it is kind of it ticks that sort of box, if you like.
I think it's got
those horror tropes.
That's the thing. It's got the horror tropes. It's got the thing is tipping its cap to all those things, but putting his own spin on it. Like obviously he knows what he's doing. He's we've seen Host, we've seen Dashcam. We know he's fucking a horror kind of fan. So it's kind of like the things he puts in this movie, Rob Savage. He's obviously had a help from big budget studios and stuff because he's had a big budget and he's been given help. But it's fucking.
He didn't shit the bed. He didn't shit the bed.
No, not at all.
He didn't shit the bed by making that leap from like those indies to this fucking like a Hollywood picture, basically a Hollywood horror. It's in that ilk, and it's a creature feature, and I loved it. I love the creature. I love the way that it started. As soon as he's killed a baby in like the first fucking 5 minutes of the movie.
That's a bit brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was like, all right.
Hate crying babies in horror movies, man. It does my head in.
I love the journey it just took us on. I like the trauma of the two daughters. I didn't like the trauma, but obviously they'd lost their mum, and that's it's all common aspects of horror movies that we've seen before, but it was just done well. It was just done well, and the actors that were picked did a fucking stand-up job. They brought me into it. They sold the story, and it's just the dark and the music and the way that it sort of just like unfolded. I don't know. I felt like it was enough. I felt bits of Malignant in there, that sort of thing, like the good bits. A little bit,
yeah.
And like when you did, because you don't. Again, it's like the Babadook. You don't see. It's what you don't see that fucking creeps you out. I didn't want to see it, and that's the thing. And you only had glimpses, and it still had enough to tease me, and I like that. It was teasing me and enough. If I'd seen it earlier on, then maybe it would have took me out of it, and I would have gone, back in the room.
True, yeah. Because you don't really see
it.
It's really clever. We're probably going to spoil bits here, but there's bits in it where you see it in different kind of forms as well. So it's kind of takes form of things, and you see little snippets of it. And initially, what this creature does is that it obviously feeds off of grief and depression and sadness. So it needs that to feed off of. And this is where we find this family, like you touched on, said like they've lost their mother in a car crash, and literally they're dealing with this grief, and they're visited by Lester
Billings,
yeah,
because their dad's a psychiatrist, isn't he, in the house?
Yeah, so he's obviously a troubled gentleman that has obviously had these problems problems. His whole all his kids have been killed, and he's blaming this creature, but is they're saying that it's him. So he's come to the psychiatrist because he thinks this psychiatrist is going to believe him. And that his performance was insane.
He's not in it a lot. He's not in this movie a lot, but what the bits that he's in there, he creates a very creepy persona. and you really sort of understand you start to unfold a little bit of the mythos, just get a little glimpse, and the sort of glimpses to the closet, because this is a boogeyman. This is the thing that comes from the closet, and I like the fact, and I said this to you, didn't I? And I was like, it felt very linked to it. There's like, throughout some of his books, there are links to sort of the old beings that have been around for a long time, like it's like the turtle that we've mentioned in the past, and there's lots of others in Dark Tower which I don't know about, and this one seems to be, it feeds on the grief and the sadness, like you said, whereas like Pennywise feeds on the fear and sort of stuff. So it's kind of different elements. And when you saw the creature and what it was haunting, and it was done. I don't know if they use practical and how much they practical.
I think there's a little bit of practical with the close-ups, I think.
Yeah, and it was just like I've was quite interested how they sort of unfolded the creature, and that was how I kind of wish they may have done like it. I know that big CGI mess that they had, like, with the poor little baby in it too. Maybe they could have kind of learned from this a little bit. Maybe there's
it's definitely scaled back, isn't it?
Definitely.
It's very, very cleverly done. But I like the way that as well. You don't need to know where it's from or where it's been or why it's there. It's just it's fucking there. But it is a being because it can be hurt, as we find out in the movie.
But maybe it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, that's the thing as well. It's like the fake out in the first one with Pennywise and stuff like that. Maybe it's down, but not, not out.
Maybe. One thing I did not like, and that pissed me off, but it's just my gripe. So they've just lost their mum in a car crash, and right at the start of the movie, they're in the car, and the dad's fucking around with the kid on the back seat, and I'm like, drive the fucking car. And then literally 10 minutes later, you find out their mum died in a car crash. And that like, I liked there was obviously something with the dad being so distant with them and not really dealing with the elephant in the room, even though he's a psychiatrist, which I thought was a bit strange. Obviously it's his profession, but he's actually not dealing with the problem head on.
Yeah.
And I thought it's really clever how the three main characters were kind of distant, but then close. Do you know what I mean? So even when the girls' rooms are quite far apart, and then the house is really like wide and like there's distance between everyone.
Yeah, so they couldn't hear. Like, that was what I was struggling to understand. It's like, hang on, there's been an instant.
Yeah.
When no one's reacting to it, like the daughter goes through a bit of hell. Like
Not to mention the daughter's just lost her mother in a car crash. Horrific. She comes home from school, and they're literally just talking in front of her about how someone's just hanged himself in a closet.
Yeah.
There's some things kids should be put in another room for. And no wonder she's fucking fucked up and seeing crazy things, even if they weren't real. Oh my god! I was like, God, no! They're talking about it in front of her.
Couple of frustrations, definitely. But yeah, some of the scenes and stuff like that, like the initial out of the closet under the bed scene.
Classic, but
very well. It was a classic, and you had, and I like the element with the moonlight.
Yeah, that's cool. I want one of those lights. They're quality.
Yeah, just chuck them at the thing, so they roll around. It's like part of the mythos with this character is that it doesn't like light. It wants to be in the dark. It doesn't want to be seen. So it is that scuttling sort of ness behind it, but it's just done very well and subtle again, like paranormal activity.
That's what I mean. That could have easily been kind of lost and gone, oh yeah, another creature that's scared of light. But it's like you say, it's done well. It's just done so well, because there's bits where this creature can fucking literally grab him with arm's length, but because of the way the lighting is, it can't quite get them. And it's the feeling that it gives you when it happens is like, it's gonna get. And the noises, that's one thing we haven't talked about, the noises from the creature that it can mimic.
Yeah,
that's fucking weird, because it can mimic people's voices, and it was talking to the girl, but she was talking to her sister, but her sister wasn't even in the fucking room. That was fucking creepy. That was.
Yeah, very, very cool. And like even when it's like moments when you kind of like the one of the outstanding scenes for me was with the TV when she's playing the computer game.
Different.
And very different. You know, using the flashes to sort of keep it in the light.
I was trying to figure out what game that was.
No, I didn't. I couldn't work it out. But you know, and then they don't hold back. She gets launched.
Mate, if Obi-Wan saw that, man, he would be pissed right now.
She fucking gets.
You throw Leia at TV.
Oh my word! It's a startling scene. Very clever, and like even that we get that, and then we get quick succession. We get like the bait as well. We get like so this Lester Billings character, who's been dealing with the Beast for a while by the looks of things, for about a year. It also has a wife that we discover in like fucking the abandoned house and just waiting for it basically with a fucking shotgun.
Yeah, a million candles.
How she got her telephone number, I'll never know.
Oh yeah,
So that was a bit of a plot hole for me, but anyway, I'll allow it. Fuck, I don't know. But yeah, using her as bait was good, and I didn't think it was going to work. I thought she was just great, like there on her own, but it did, and how fucking fascinating scene that was. Really was just like sort of the way the movement and just the subtlety of the shotgun, the bangs, the trap.
So loud. Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't like other horror films where you get jump scares. This was like the sound was brutal, like really sharp, loud. The sound production was brilliant. It really, really was. Yeah, it fucking shit me up so many times. I shit myself.
Yeah, definitely. What about the basement? What about the finale? What do you think of that?
Do you know what? I was really rooting for him, and I know when a film's done a good job, because sometimes I'm like, I don't really care about the characters. I don't give a fuck. They're gonna die. They're stupid. They shouldn't have gone down there. Shouldn't have. Like the amounts of dark spaces they go and venture. I'm like, just get some light down. Anyway, but it's I really rooted for him, and I really liked the ending. I thought because because obviously, they find out obviously they're scared of light, and then the lighter is a big part of it. That she has a Zippo lighter, and that part where she's just taking it out. It's just I'm like, yeah, I found it in me. I was like, yes, get it. I was like, I mean, burn it.
I did turn to you though. She walked down the basement with a fucking hockey stick. I was just like, well, it's just survived a fucking shotgun. So I think the hockey stick is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did look to me. You're like, what the fuck? One thing I want to ask you: did you see any little like Easter eggs? Because I looked at you at one point, and I was like, is he going to look at me? And I kept looking at you, and you weren't looking at me.
All right. So now I was fixated, but I probably had my eyes covered at the time.
So, do you want the biggest one?
Yeah, go on.
Now, to me, this Boogeyman universe could be connected to the Host universe. The lady on the YouTube video was the fucking same seance lady from Host.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's clever.
I was like, shit, that's her, man. I was like, that meme of like Leonardo DiCaprio. Look. I was like, it's there. I was like, fuck, it's like a shared universe. It's the Rob Savage-verse.
Is there anything else? Because they did like put in the.
Apparently, there's loads of Stephen King references, like numbers of the houses and stuff like that as a reference. But there's loads of references. I haven't even looked it up or anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's the one thing. The lady from Host, I was like, fuck, that's her. Because the only reason I think I just recognised her, and then I knew as soon as she started speaking, I was like, that's her, 100%.
Good work, man.
It's crazy. It could be connected.
I think he's done a wonderful job with this. It creeped me out. It got me. It probably won't do it for everyone because there's some people who are just like, horror doesn't do anything for me. Blah, 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 blah. But I liked it, and I'd like to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing even more from Rob Savage. I loved Dashcam last year. I thought it was fucking brilliant. I know Geordie Paul's thoughts on it.
Oh, I thought it was good.
I think it did a trick on him, enough to make him feel something. That's all that matters, right? Fuck you, Paul. But yeah, so Yeah. So yeah, for me, this is great. And if he's getting in the Stephen King of it all, we got a new Flanagan on our hands, haven't we? Really?
Wow. He, as far as I know, he has got multiple projects ready to go with Sam Raimi. Multiple. He's done a short. Do you remember that short we watched on YouTube called Salt?
Yeah.
He's got that on the cards to be made into a feature film, which apparently is one of the best scripts he's ever read. And if this does well at the box office, which it's done 20 million already opening, if it does well, he's got something as a follow-up apparently, which is a really good idea.
This is really interesting, isn't it? He's come from, like, COVID's done really well for him.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, I listened to the Boo Crew podcast with him on, and he's very, very full on with, I'm staying in LA. Americans know how to do it. This is how I want to make my horror films. I want to pack a punch, Hollywood, big budget. He was a bit kind of, I won't say negative, or maybe negative with the British kind of industry of horror, which he had a valid point. We can be, studios over here can probably be a little bit snobbish, where America a lot more, throw money at it and make shitloads of money.
I mean, he's got a point. I mean, I'm gonna have to. Maybe the Irish and stuff that I've got it right, but yeah, I am struggling.
The Irish have got some good ones, yeah.
Yeah, where like a good British horror in a while.
Well, he had a point. He was like, well, one was the last massive big,
and that was it. It was not big budget.
28. What was the biggest 20? As big as 28 Days Later, or something like that.
Like, where's that Dog Soldiers Descent era? It's like kind of like
Descent. He referred to it as Descent, actually.
Yeah, it disappeared a little bit. So we're kind of like, we need somebody. Yeah. I mean,
St. Maud, that was good, but I don't think it smashed the box office. But it was brilliant. Men, that was brilliant. But again, I think they're small indie films. They're not big budget, are they? They're indie made films still. The A24 is still really, they're bringing out in America. They're making some waves, but we're not talking huge, are we? We need some big bangers to come out. We need, that we are the founding country of the horror movies, man.
Yeah,
we should be churning them out, mate, big time. But
okay.
We will see.
All right. Well, he's still London boy, so
mate, he's still waving the flag for us. So, mate, I'll watch anything he makes. I'm 100%. Loving it.
What would you put if you put a number on this? What would you rate it?
See, I really, really enjoyed it. The more I think about it, the more I've had this conversation, I think I'd give it a 9 nearly. I think it's one of the best movies I've seen this year, to be honest.
I'm with you, mate. I think I'm 9 out of 10. It moved me, and it just again, I think he's delivering. He's got a formula that's fucking works for me. Definitely.
Not one moment did I look away from the screen thinking, or look at my watch, or I was completely immersed and engaged with the characters, the story, the music, the visuals, everything. So it did a job for me. It ticked all the boxes.
Yeah, and it wasn't dash cam, it wasn't host, it wasn't handheld, it wasn't social media. It was a big budget horror, and to go from that sort of like DIY, direction to this, it's just he didn't get lost. I thought it was fantastic. Good job. Well done. 9 out of 10. For Draw and Last Breath, the Boogeyman. Go see it. It's at cinemas now. It'll be out for a couple of weeks. So
I think it will eventually go to Disney Plus because it's a Disney property. So
right, okay, cool. He's a Disney boy already. Fucking hell, he's doing all right, ain't he?
Give me that Disney money.
Jesus Christ. All right, cool. On to the flow of the podcast. Something to scream about. Let's do it. I don't know. All right, this episode's something to scream about. I had a little idea for Geordie Paul and Matt, but obviously we were missing one. So we're going to see if this works just with me. I mean, I've not done any research. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun. We'll see how it works. I don't know if we need a couple of tries or we're just gonna see how well we do. But it was gonna be a little knowledge test almost.
Oh, fuck.
So I thought I'd do an A to Z, simple A to Z. All right. See how far we can go by naming horror movies. Back and forth. I start with A, you go B, etc. Can't be the. All right. It's got to be like you were fucking strict last week. So it's got to be.
God. Okay.
Yeah. I won't give you that long to think. So, I mean, I've got an advantage now. I've got so many in my eyesight right now. So yeah, I'll start, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Let's do it.
Anaconda.
Is it horror?
Creature feature. All right. Alligator.
Barbarian.
Child's Play.
Dogma. Not Dogma. Dog Soldiers. Dogma. I don't know why I was thinking Dogma. Maybe I was looking behind your head.
End of Days.
Okay.
All right then. Entity.
Oh, haven't seen that yet. Still need to watch that.
Well,
F. Freddy versus Jason. You picked so many others.
Ghoulies.
Oh, you're looking behind me now. House. I. Oh. I'm going to have to hurry you, mate.
Invisible Man.
Okay. J.
J horror.
Oh, J.
Ooh, J.
Jaws.
Jaws. Duh.
Jesus Christ, how could I forget?
K. Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Good one. Al. Langoliers.
All right. Okay. Well, we said M earlier, so I'll go for Malignant.
Okay. N. Oh God, the Ness. Oh no, count of the. I got one. Night of the Demon.
Ooh, very good. Thought you were going to go for Nightmare Beach.
Have you seen that?
Oh
Dear.
Oculus.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Yep. P. Piranha.
Nice. A Q.
Oh.
Q.
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 Oh yeah, Q. The
The winged
dragon
serpent.
thing. Yeah. Or you could have gone for Quatermass and the Pit.
Oh fucking hell.
Oh no. What am I on? What are we on? Q. U.
Q R.
R. Ratman.
Fucking amazing. Oh well, S. Serpent and the Rainbow.
Okay. Deep cuts. T. I'm gonna go Tremors.
All right, nice. U. Unwelcome.
Oh yeah, that was a good movie. That good choice. V. The movie.
That's a fucking TV show. You can't have.
All right. I'll go with.
I respect it though.
Oh shit, V. Oh mate, you've stumped me now.
I mean, I'll let you have a the if you want.
The Virgin. I have no idea. I am stumped
I can
on
give
V,
you,
mate.
I can give you one. M Night Shyamalan.
Oh, Village.
Or The Visit.
Visit. Or The Visit. Visit is more horror, yeah. Not two V's. He's got two movies with V's in it.
You could have had Videodrome.
Videodrome.
Yeah. Okay. W. W is probably loads. Witch, but there's The Witch, isn't it? Wicker Man.
I love Wicker Man. X. Oh my X.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I was also you had another one, Extro.
Oh,
But yeah,
love
X
that movie.
X will
Yeah.
do nicely.
X, yeah.
Why?
Why?
Oh, something like with you. You only live once. No, that's not.
I got one. If you're struggling.
You're next.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking of. That was exactly what I was thinking of. You're next, and WXYZ.
Zed. So many.
Is there? Really?
I mean, I have about fucking 60 ones beginning with Z.
Oh, of course, yeah. Zombies.
Zombie flesh eaters.
Zombie flesh eaters, or
Zombie
flesh
zombies.
eaters 2.
Zombie strippers.
Zombie strippers. Zombie honeymoon.
That was quite a lot easier than I thought.
Yeah.
But we could definitely theme it on another episode and stuff like that to make it hard.
Defo, mate. Defo.
Just do it to A to Z but I have to every single film has to start with the.
Oh my god.
But yeah,
you have to pick an era. You have to stay. You can only do 90s.
yeah, I love that. There you go. Good little bit of fun. It would have been interesting to see with Geordie Paul struggle. All right, cool. Just a bit of fun there. So we had something for someone screaming about, a bit of fun. Good. Right, let's move on to our move from the vault.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. But sometimes, just sometimes, the crow could bring that soul back to put the wrong things right.
You're all going to die.
Is that gasoline I smell?
Victims, aren't we all?
Okay, so this episode's movie from the vault was picked by our old friend Geordie Paul. Hopefully he'll be back on the next episode. So we are doing 1994, starring Brandon Lee, The Crow. A man is brutally murdered, comes back to life as an undead avenger of his and his fiance's murder. The worst synopsis ever.
Yeah, you didn't.
IMDb.
You really did not do it justice there, did you? Question
When
first.
did you first see this movie? Oh, go on.
Is it okay? We don't know. We'll get in a minute. 1994, it came out. I mean, I had this on VHS. So we're talking. Couldn't it be 1994? 1994. I was what? 13, 14.
I definitely
possibly. It's possible that I saw this around. It fits the era that I would have bought. That I would have watched this not at a cinema because it's an 18. So I wasn't a cinema to watch this, but yeah,
I'd say
on home video.
It probably came out on home video about 1996. I would say
Yeah,
things took a lot longer then.
That feels about right. And
yeah, it definitely was around 96. Because
yeah,
if you were, I was about 16, I think.
Definitely, yeah, about 15. So,
all right, rub it in. Younger.
But is this a horror movie? That's my first question. Could you? How can we twist this into a horror movie?
He's undead, dude.
He is undead.
Comes out of a grave. There's lots of blood and gore.
Yeah.
There's a horrible scene that we'll talk about later.
Gothic, very gothic.
Very gothic. The soundtrack's metal as fuck.
Yeah, and the crow itself, the kind of like old knocking at your door. You know, there's definitely like the dark edge. I mean, I never looked at this as a vigilante superhero movie like the likes of Ghost Rider, The Punisher, and stuff like that. But essentially, that's what he is, right? He is an undead revenge killer.
Mate, and it used to be a comic.
Yes, and you can, and I think this is the first time I've watched it where I could see the comicness of it in a positive,
you have
in
much
a good
more
way.
respect. Yeah.
In a good
Yeah,
way.
I understand that because I probably didn't really appreciate it in that way until I rewatched it recently. No, you're right. I agree with that.
Loved it on this watch. Loved it every other fucking watch that I've seen it over the course of my life. It's one of my, I'd say this is like, you know, movies that define your life and define what you were brought up on. This is like top 10 easy in terms of the movies that were like that led me to watch and enjoy movies. This is one of them, 100%.
Massively.
I would be very surprised. Yeah, I knew it would be yours, but I would be very surprised if like not all of our mates, you know, this would be right up there.
Yeah, I don't know whether it definitely was a time and a place. I'd like someone who hasn't watched it to watch it now and see what their take is on it, because you know it was a time where, you know, this wasn't a massive big budget film for a start. It's like $23 million US. You know, it was, you know, it's not like the most complex storyline. Like, so right, let's delve into the storyline. So basically, you've got Eric Draven and
Shelley Webster,
his fiance. So they're all in love, and this is the crazy thing, is that it goes straight in, balls deep, literally straight away. It's like, doesn't set up any characterization between them. And this is what is, I think, was quite visceral for me when I was young watching it. It goes straight in, and it's like, you've got these two people that are obviously madly in love, getting married, and fucking knock at the door. Horrific scene where he gets beat up, stabbed, and fucking thrown out of a window, and his fiance's got to watch it all while she gets brutally raped by what, 4 or 5 men? 5 men? 5?
4
men.
4 men. Tintin.
Fucked up. Yeah, let's go through their names. The culprits.
Tintin.
Tintin. Yeah.
Which, funny enough, I wrote down as Tin Can in my notes, which is there.
Fun boy.
Fun boy. Skank.
Skank. Yeah.
And T-Bird.
And T-Bird, yes.
T-Bird.
That's correct. Yeah. And that was like quite a shock. Was really. I mean, it's quite full on, isn't it?
It's the same sort of. You can feel the Seven of it all. You know, when we watch Seven, it was like very. Again, it's that sort of production house, because it's like it felt very. It could be easily like the the city for Seven could be down the fucking road. It was grimy, dirty, sort of not apocalyptic, but just like that
Sin
real
City, mate. Sin City.
Yeah, definitely.
It's weird because like you can tell like what bits are real, but there is a bit of CGI in the movie that, you know, hasn't dated great, but
the crow.
About. But you're right. It's like I never realized the comic bookness of the, especially the opening scenes and stuff. But where it's set, you're right. It is almost like Sin City, Gotham-y, really gothic, really fucking, angsty, just miserable in it. It's always fucking raining. And it rain all the time.
Yeah, it can't rain all the time. But it's just like the people, and it's like the roads, and it's just like you don't. You could say that it was probably like what, New York in the 80s and stuff like that. That was what it was based on, or Detroit or something like that. There were that sort of like those American cities that sort of have maybe the feel and the emotion, which kind of pushed this notion of these movies and stuff like that. The sort of what it could be, the next level. But yeah, it is that sort of like, there's a fucking villain, and it's a proper villain. But it goes in hand with that sort of like, actually, these villains are kind of caricatures, but also that could kind of cross over into that realness as well.
It's like using that, like, okay, it's the time it was shot was like probably 93 or something, but you're on that cusp of coming out of those 80s action movies, and it's still got action in it, but then it's like still got that kind of, we need a real bad guy, head honcho kind of film, but then we need a really good guy, but then they put this edge of grunge to him as well, because he's from a like fucking grunge band that he's got a guitar and stuff. But it was cool back then. This was dirty, dingy grunge, fucking guitars and makeup, long hair, leather trousers, all that sort of shit.
Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana, Soundgarden, those sorts of bands and stuff like that. That's what this era was all about, and it fit completely within that sort of like that era. It was
how many people used to go? We used to go to a fucking grunge club called Level 3. How many people at Halloween turned up as Eric Draven?
Well, how many people?
Count it on your hands.
How many people just wore long leather jackets and stuff like that? Like Dan Witt.
Anyway, yeah, and makeup.
This is Dan, one of Dan's. Our mate Dan. Dan.
Werewolf Dan.
No, not Werewolf Dan. The other Dan that we know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Long leather jacket.
Yeah.
And this is one of his favorite movies. This is why he wore a long leather jacket for most of it. It was just like there were a lot of people who did, because it just sort of appealed. It was just interesting, and that leather jacket came from one of the rapists. So ultimately, as well.
Was it Fun Boy?
No, it was Tintin.
Oh my god!
The knife scene and stuff like that. Where he's just like, yeah.
Right. We've got to get on to the one and only Ghostbuster himself.
Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson, man. Fucking legend in this. I almost forgot he was in it. And then bang, I was like, oh, fuck. Yes, it had to be. As the really nice, cool, friendly cop.
Yeah.
That just fucking is chain smoking every 5 seconds in this film. He's got a fucking cigarette. It made me want to go out and fucking smoke a cigarette. I don't even smoke.
There's a lot like Brad Pitt in Seven.
Yeah,
it's the cigarette.
Yeah, what was it? It was like early 90s, wasn't it? Like it must have been like you've got to smoke at least 70 cigarettes because we've been paid by Marlboro. Do you know what I mean? Fucking hell, mate, it's crazy.
I know, right?
But I liked him as a character. He was cool.
Talk about the ultimate fucking bad guy. And I don't know if he did a lot of bad guys, but obviously with Robin Hood, but Michael Wincott, I mean, he's the fucking
top dollar.
Obviously Three Musketeers as well. He is. You get your money with him. He's got it.
Chewing up that scenery, wasn't he?
It's beautiful. I mean, when he pops up in Nope as well, though, man, I thought he was great in that.
Oh yeah, he was brilliant. It was good to see him, wasn't it? It was just like, he was in so many things in in the 90s, like in the early 2000s. I remember him being in Strange Days, which is a fucking wicked film, really, really good film. But yeah, it's always great to see him fucking chewing the scenery.
Alien Resurrection as well.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah. So that was good to see him, and obviously we get Brandon Lee, the late great Brandon Lee. Obviously we'll talk about probably that more a bit later and stuff like that. The sort of, I guess, that makes this film more synonymous than most, I suppose.
Yeah, it's that whole thing with it. I mean, I when I was a kid, I bought the tape cassette soundtrack because I used to do my paper round and listen to it, and I literally wore that tape out, like turned it over, played the other side, wore it out. I had the poster on the wall, like the proper cinema poster on my wall. Loved it so much. And I think there's a certain eeriness to this film that everybody chatted about it at school and stuff, or, and said, oh, yeah, that's the one where the guy got killed on set and stuff like that. And I think it just adds that little more of kind of like, I don't know, for me, it felt like it really when you're watching it, it's more of a connection when you watch it because you know he's dead in real life.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he never got to see that film.
No, right? It's sad and stuff. It really is. But
you hit the nail on the head. It's sad. It's sadness. The film is sadness.
Yeah.
and then you get fulfillment out of the film. But then when you realise at the end, you're like, oh fuck, he did die on the set, you know.
Yeah.
Weird.
Really, really weird. And there's always where he did, where you could. There was like, oh, you can definitely see it, and I think no, you can't. They cut the fucking scenes out. They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't show that, and there was not. So it's nuts. But some of the fucking, like you said, the chewing the scenery. There was a lot of that through the guys like
the gang.
Skank was probably one of my favorites. Fire it up,
Fire it up,
fire it up.
What and what the fuck? I never know, and this is still don't know. Why were they down in bullets?
They're hard.
What the fuck?
Because it was probably because again that felt like a comic book. You know, what do you call it? Single shot or
panel.
You know, a panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, comic book panel. You know, where they're all just sat round probably and just like boom.
Maybe.
It's
I've
nuts.
never read the graphic novel, you know.
No, I haven't either. It's cooking.
Never really pursued it.
Because they're bonkers, mate. They are the worst of the worst.
The whole city's fucking horrible because once a year, which is called Devil's Night, which is the day before Halloween, right?
Yeah.
They just go around and they just burn the fuck out of the whole city. What does this gain?
134 fires. And
Why?
they like, yeah, he goes on to describe it, doesn't he? To the top, Michael Wynn, I can't remember his name now. He's like top,
yeah,
whatever. Top dollar. Who's in love with his sister? Maybe it's his sister, not really sure. But he's like, yeah, he just wants to see things burn, and he's an anarchist.
Yeah.
There's no financial gain that he wants out of it. I couldn't see anything about.
Show them that we can.
We can, yeah.
Burn the fucking city down.
Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
You got no infrastructure left to collect anything, you know. But there you go. That's the sensicalness of it all, I suppose. But yeah, he was fucking a character though, when he old Top Dollar. You know, some of his lines, car, bang, bang, you're dead, and you know those sort of things. Was it his sister? Or like a stepsister? There was definitely a sister vibe, like that they mentioned and stuff like that. There was some weirdness between them. But she's got she's chewed the scenery and all. At one stage, her line was like, I like to see the pretty lights. And they all laugh at her and stuff. And she's like, oh shit, what did I say?
She's got a thing about eyes.
She's got a thing about eyes, yeah, the fucking gross.
I don't know, but I think that in the comic, the character Top Dollar might have been an Asian character. I don't know whether they changed last minute. I don't know. I'd have to check the.
Okay, good.
The Google on that one, but yeah.
The one of the obviously the standout scenes is that when they're all around the table, and he's coming for Skank, and there's way too many bullets that fire at him, and it goes on for fucking ages, and he's just dodging and killing them all, and you know flipping, because he was a martial artist.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So he's using all that. It's very actiony, very cool. Lots of fucking cool guns and shooting and samurai swords and all sorts of cool shit going on. It was great, and it still stood up to today. Even if it's like completely unbelievable that he didn't, you know, that he is, but he is undead. He got hurt, but he still was able just to go through every single one of the bad guys.
Yeah, it's a crazy scene, because I think that might have been the scene where he did actually get shot.
Right. So if we're talking about that, I thought it was always the church in the church scene at the end, but my partner looked it up and she said it was in one of the flashbacks. So it was in the scene where she gets raped, and that's where he gets shot. That's why.
Oh, really? I did not know that. I thought it was in the firing shots at the end.
I thought you'd have had this in your Matt's facts.
Well, I have. I've got who did it.
Right. Okay.
Facts.
You haven't got
apparently
where, but okay. Well, maybe it's one of the things that's like makes it a bit mysterious and stuff like that. It's like, where did it happen? It's not important, really. It did happen, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, they finished most of the last couple of scenes with facial kind of CGI, because it was just on the cusp of when it was like getting big. So they finished a couple of bits off with facial CGI, but this isn't in my mouth's facts. But apparently, to finish some of the stunts at the end, it was Chad Stahelski of John Wick fame. Yeah,
John Wick. Yeah, the director
So
John Wick.
before he was that, he was a stuntman. He's always been a
Yeah.
stuntman, which I could not find anywhere on the many places on the internet. So I don't know whether it's 100% true or not.
Okay. But yeah, I just, this movie's just great, and the ending scene, and like the bits with the crow pecking out the eyes, and like
Do you know one thing I
so
forgot?
so much rain, just so
Yeah,
much.
I know. So much wet and miserable weather. The one thing I did notice is that I completely forgot about, and maybe it just didn't hit with me when I was younger, was how funny some of the exchanges between Eric and I can't remember his name, is Albrecht, or whatever his name was, Ernie Hudson, the copper.
Yeah.
How when they're in his flat and stuff, it's like, and the little bits where you're like, why does he always disappear? Where's he gone? He always does that. It's just like the little one-liners, and apparently, like in that scene in the flat, some of that, quite a lot of that was ad-lib between them, which was quite interesting.
But you're right though with the one. You're right. Are right with the one-liners and stuff like that. That's the comic bookness of it all, definitely. And nods to the 80s and stuff like that for those cheese on toast moments, I think, and it works so well in this movie, and that's why it just sits and stands alone. I thought it's fucking brilliant, and it really did. It's still got that 90s. It's just they shot movies in the 90s in a certain way, didn't they? They had this. It's sort of almost like you said. It's the beginning of the technology. And it's just like the ones that sort of used it and misused it, you always remember.
Yeah.
It's fascinating look back, and this is one of the movies that I've seen over and over again throughout my life. It's just it reminds me of being that age.
Yeah, man. It needs to be released on a really nice special edition.
Yeah, and they could go and it'd be interesting to see. I don't know if I kind of want to see it polished up and see what happens if they did a 4K.
That's what do you know what, when I was watching it, I don't know where you watched it, but I rented it. I don't have it for some reason. And I don't have this on Blu-ray, unfortunately. I don't know why. So I rented it off Amazon, and the copy I was watching just didn't look very good. It's a bit grainy. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that, but it just looked like it needs to be rendered and sorted out for a nice 4K.
Because I've got it on DVD only.
Yeah.
I've got an older version from fucking early 2000s and stuff that I sort of, I bought the VHS. I sort of then upgraded to a DVD.
Yeah. I used to have a VHS. I don't think I still have it.
Yeah.
So.
Get that as an NX rental.
Yeah, maybe the one that I rented.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, man. So I don't know what it looked like if it needs it cleared up, because it's that gothic.
I would like it. I just think it would look good.
Deserves it. It does deserve to see what it would look like and stuff like that. And if with all the Alec Baldwin stuff going on at the moment, it sort of brings it back full circle.
Well, it just proves that nothing's fucking changed.
Mm.
Even though when this actually happened, it did actually change the rules a lot of using live or blanks or whatever when using stuff. But it obviously hasn't changed that much because it's still happening. Anyway,
yeah, very sad.
Should we get on to some Matt's facts?
Please do.
So here we go. Although he was not at fault for the death of Brandon Lee, Michael Massey, which is Funboy, I think. Is that right? Funboy?
Yep.
Stopped acting for a year because he was so traumatized by the incident. His next film was a small role in Seven in 1995, funnily enough. Up until his death in 2016, he had never watched the film.
That's why that leads me to think that it was in one of the flashbacks and stuff like that. Yeah, because he was in that scene. So it wasn't.
He must have shot it in reverse, kind of thing.
Yeah, he must have done. Must have used those scenes later and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I looked at the little girl Sarah, and she didn't go on to act at all. So you kind of think that there is definitely some kind of like leftover effects on the people.
Big time. In his Blu-ray commentary, Alex Pariah said that Brandon Lee was unhappy with the way his face paint looked when the makeup department applied it to him before shooting. Lee and Pariah then agreed that it would look best if Lee applied his own makeup every night before going to bed, so then when he woke up, his face paint would naturally look more worn out, which is quite funny. Paramount Pictures initially developed and financed this film, but after Brandon Lee's tragic death, which caused production to shut down with an incomplete film, they wrote the project off. Entertainment Media Investment Corporation was created for the purpose of buying the film and completing it using the groundbreaking CGI special effects and body doubles for Lee's scenes. The film would return to Paramount's hands in 2020 after the studio bought a minority stake in the Miramax, which picked up distribution rights after Paramount left. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
While most of the scenes after Brandon Lee's death were digitally composed, there was in fact a mask that had been made directly from a mold of Lee's face. It had been intended for use on stunt doubles if needed. They attempted to create the scenes using the mask. However, the cast and crew were far too unsettled with the prop that it was destroyed, and digital means were used to fill in the gaps.
Fucking hell.
I know, a bit rough, isn't it? According to Empire magazine, cocaine abuse was rampant on set, with cameramen shooting whilst high, crew going into the toilets to snort between shots, and people cutting around. One crew member recalls hearing the sound of a sneeze on set one day, and an annoyed Brandon Lee, quipping, said, "Someone just lost $50. Out of their nose. It doesn't surprise me because that massive tray of coke is probably real, and he probably did that for real. I wouldn't doubt for a second. Even though the movie was based on the comic, it's called The Crow. None of the birds used in the film were actually crows. All of them were in fact ravens, which are much larger than crows and have a longer, more expressive beak. Linda Lee Cadwell, the widow of Bruce Lee and mother of Brandon Lee, filed negligence case against producer Edward R. Pressman, actor Michael Massey, and 12 other defendants over the death of her son on set. She settled out of court to the tune of $3 million.
See, I'm hoping that she did that because she wanted to change things, and hopefully she did that.
I hope so, yeah. River Phoenix and Christian Slater turned down the role of Eric Draven. Can you imagine?
River Phoenix and who?
Christian Slater.
Fucking okay.
But what I'm saying is, they escaped death.
Yeah, I know. That's a weird
How
one.
How weird would have that been after?
Well, River Phoenix,
yeah, man. It's mad, isn't it? During the boardroom. Sorry, Karen.
Couple of sequels.
I'm not finished yet.
All right, sorry.
How dare you? During the boardroom shootout, Brandon Lee rolls onto his back to kick a shooter through the window before kicking it back up to his feet in one movement. This similar move was performed in Enter the Dragon in 1973, performed by Brandon Lee's father, Bruce Lee, which was also in his last film before his untimely death, which is a bit weird. And the body count, dare I say it, is 31. Crazy, mate. Absolutely crazy. What you were saying about Sarah, the actor, and after the death of Brandon Lee on the set of The Crow, she had to return to the set in order to film the scene in which Eric Draven says, "Sarah, I do care," with a body double in the character of Draven, but did not appear in another film until 2009.
And even then, she hasn't got any other movies really to her name.
No.
Oh, crazy stuff.
But what a film. What a film to leave on. I know. It's really sad. Really massive loss. I had all Brandon Lee's films on VHS, believe it or not. But
what are they?
Do you want me to go through them?
Yeah, I'd love that, actually.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, quite a lot. But it was all that era of all that kind of kung fu. You'll definitely remember some of these. You'll definitely remember Showdown in Little Tokyo, one particular scene in general. But yeah, rapid fire.
Rapid fire, bloody hell.
You must have seen that. Showdown Little Tokyo, O'Hara, Crime Killer. Not many others really.
Fair enough. He hadn't done a lot, but he was on for a big career, I think, which is a shame.
Yeah, I just think after this, I think he would have exploded big time.
Totally.
Because it's a bit more of a serious role, and he got to show a bit more of his what he can do. And it's really good that it could have easily been turned into like a kung fu movie-ish with his name and stuff, but it didn't go there. They made it like an action kind of revenge film, and I loved it, mate. I loved it. I always love it. I'll always get people. I'll get my kids to watch it one day. Just brilliant. Soundtrack brilliant.
Yeah.
Fucking everything's brilliant.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Geordie
10.
Paul said.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Aye.
There you go.
Aye,
One last breath. The Crow, 10 out of 10. It just means a lot. One of the reasons why we're even doing this podcast today. So had to be. Yeah.
Of the reasons, yeah.
Right then. I'll, shake that one off and then move on to something stupid, shall we? And let's do something Let's do something dumb.
Hang on.
Because it's my pick.
Okay. Go on then. Hit it. Go on then, Butch. Hit it to me.
Alligator. 1980. Alligator.
Why am I going to watch this?
It's on Shudder.
Oh, good. Excellent.
It's on
Great.
Shudder. Otherwise, I wouldn't have picked it. I wouldn't have made you go and look for this one. But it's on Shudder. It's accessible. So fucking do it. Have you ever seen this movie?
No, but I've seen scenes out of it because of certain things. But we will send that text to Geordie Paul, and he's going to voice note us his reaction.
Bloody can't wait. Right up his street. Wow, what a fucking interesting episode. Minus the Geordie, we still got through it like the old school. Thanks everyone for listening to another Draw and Last Breath episode. I'll be recovering from my stag do when this comes out,
if you live.
But moving on to our next episode, 132. I mean, I can't think of anything at the moment in terms of anything past this weekend. So we'll find a movie, we'll review it, do something to scream about, and we will look at and watch the Alligator, the 1980 movie. There's only one more thing to say. I hope I'm
stuck.
I hope I'm still in the next episode. When there's no more room in hell, here's another podcast.